All right, so welcome back to another deep dive. And today we're heading into some pretty, uh, I guess you could say, shadowy territory.
Yeah, definitely a bit spooky.
Yeah, spooky's a good word for it. We're looking at Nick Redfern's Close Encounters of the Fatal Kind. This book, it explores a pretty dark question. It asks, are people who get too close to the truth about UFOs?
Meeting with some, let's say, unfortunate end.
Yeah, unfortunate, untimely, maybe even a little suspicious.
Well, Redfern seems to think that there's a definite connection there.
Okay, so for people who maybe haven't had the chance to check out the book yet, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of what Redfern is, like what he's really getting at here?
So the core of Redfern's argument is that he doesn't just focus on the stereotypical, UFO enthusiasts or conspiracy theorists. He's looking at scientists,
Oh, wow.
military personnel, everyday people who maybe just stumble into something they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And he's saying that, across the board,
There's this pattern.
there's this pattern of these untimely and possibly suspicious deaths.
Yeah, and the book covers some pretty wild stuff, right? We're talking about aviation accidents,
Disappearances.
sudden illnesses.
Yeah. And even potential assassinations.
Wow. So how does how does Redfern go about connecting these seemingly random events? What's his sort of methodology here?
Well, his whole thing is that these deaths are not random. He connects them to the individual's involvement, no matter how slight, with UFO phenomena.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like he's trying to assemble this big puzzle, and each of these deaths, these events, is a piece.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy claim. So let's pick a piece of this puzzle, right? Is there a specific case from the book that really jumps out at you as whoa, this is something else?
Yeah. One that comes to mind involves a scientist in the 1950s, and he was researching these advanced propulsion systems.
Okay, so already we're in classified territory. Right?
Oh, yeah, very hush-hush. And Redfern's suggestion is that this research, the scientist's work, was linked to reverse engineering technology, potentially recovered from crashed UFOs.
Whoa. Okay, so we're in real X-Files territory here.
Oh, absolutely. And shortly after a major breakthrough, this scientist dies in what appears to be a very suspicious car crash.
Okay. And what happens to the research?
All of his research vanishes.
Gone.
Gone.
Wow, that's a story that could make anyone, start thinking twice. Especially, you think about the context, right? We're talking the 1950s, Cold War paranoia, everyone's looking for an edge. At the same time, you have this growing fascination with UFOs in the public, right? So was this scientist's death really just a tragic accident, or was there something more going on?
Well, that's what Redfern really tries to dig into, right? And
Yeah.
he makes a pretty compelling case that it may have been something more. He points to other instances
During the same time period.
during the same time period where individuals who were linked to UFO research or investigations also met with sudden and frequently unexplained deaths.
Oh.
He suggests, the pattern's just too obvious to ignore.
It's hard to argue with a pattern like that, right? But it does beg the question. Okay, so let's say there is some truth to this. There's a cover-up happening. Why?
Yeah.
Why all the secrecy? What possible motive could there be for silencing people who are getting too close to this UFO truth?
Well, Redfern, he dives into a few different possibilities.
Okay.
And each one has some pretty significant implications. National security is a big one.
Right.
Governments might want to keep any potential extraterrestrial technology under wraps,
Right.
Got to maintain that strategic advantage.
Of course.
Right. And then there's this fear of mass panic.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if the existence of advanced alien civilizations was just confirmed out of the blue.
Yeah, that would...
It'd be chaos. Throw society into complete, turmoil.
It'd be
Straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. It really would be. It's that scene in Men in Black where they flash that little light and erase everyone's memory.
Yeah.
Just to keep the alien presence on the down low.
Right.
Right. But jokes aside, we're talking about some pretty serious implications here.
Oh yeah.
Is it better to keep the public in the dark in the name of stability, or do we as a society have a right to know, no matter what the consequences might be? That's a really tough question to answer.
And that's, I think, the brilliance of Redfern's work. He doesn't give you any easy answers.
Yeah.
It really is a book that makes you think. He also brings up the idea that the people in power, maybe they're trying to control access to some kind of advanced technology
Right.
and stuff that could, completely upend the world order as we know it. Imagine if suddenly we had access to, let's say, 0-point energy.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about like the entire global economy would be turned upside down.
Yeah.
Our social structures, I mean, like the implications are just, it's mind-blowing.
It really is.
It's hard
Yeah.
to even fathom. And it does make you wonder why are we so obsessed with this stuff? Or,
Yeah.
like, why are people so fascinated by UFOs, by conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
What is it about these kinds of stories that just grab hold of us?
I think it taps into something very fundamental about human nature. It's that innate curiosity.
Yep.
This desire for knowledge, for understanding. These stories, they give us a glimpse into something beyond our everyday reality,
Right.
something mysterious, something potentially groundbreaking. They challenge our understanding of the universe and our place within it, and that's exciting.
It is exciting, and it's clearly a powerful motivator, right? Because you look at the people in Redfern's book. If his claims are to be believed, I mean, some of these folks they risked their lives. They might have even lost their lives in pursuit of this truth.
Yeah.
And that's a really heavy thing to consider.
Yeah.
What do you think? How far would you go? How far would you personally go to uncover a truth, even if it was potentially dangerous?
I mean, that's the question we all have to grapple with, right?
Yeah.
How do we balance this thirst for knowledge with our own safety, with our own well-being? And maybe even more importantly, how do we figure out what's really true and what's just a fabrication?
Yeah, that's a question that goes well beyond just the realm of UFOs.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. I mean, it makes you think about the information we consume every day, the narratives we accept, the power dynamics that are at play all around us. And I think that's what makes a book like Close Encounters of the Fatal Kind so compelling.
Yeah, it really gets under your skin.
It really does. So to sum it up, Redfern's book, it takes us on this journey through this web of mystery, of intrigue. It explores the potential consequences of seeking knowledge that maybe some people believe should stay hidden. And it really leaves you with more questions than answers.
And here's something else to consider.
Okay.
Even if someone is skeptical, even if they don't buy into the whole UFO thing, this book raises a much bigger issue. Do powerful entities, whether it's governments or corporations, do they have the right to suppress information, even if they say it's for the greater good?
That's such a tricky question.
It is. Where is the line between, protecting society and safeguarding individual freedoms?
Right.
These are not easy questions to answer.
No, and they're questions that deserve our attention, right?
Well,
like they deserve to be discussed. And that's, if nothing else, I think that's the takeaway I get from Redfern's book. So if you're ready to dive into those deep waters to really start, questioning some of those fundamental assumptions, then definitely, grab a copy of Close Encounters of the Fatal Kind. It might just, turn everything you thought you knew upside down. But until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving.
And watch your back.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
watch your back.